A family with 4 members have meal. Suddenly the doorbell rang. The father went to open the door but the result was blown up. Next, the gun-wielding killer came in and shot to death the other. Before leaving, the killer cut off one of his father's fingers. His finger was taken to a prison in New York. Don is the biggest mafia godfather here. The godfather holds his finger and presses on the paper to get fingerprints. But compared to other men's fingerprints, the results are wrong. So who is the godfather who wants to kill? That's Fred. A few years ago, at that time Fred was a righteous boss in his mafia family. The land he managed, the people live happily. When the stealing heard his name, they were terrified. Fred is appreciated by everyone. Even the police respect his leadership. Because of this makes the mafia godfather jealous. Be feeling danger immediately, Fred cooperated with the FBI to give Godfather Don a ticket to vacation in the Stonehouse. With his strength, the Godfather can still flaunt his prestige even anywhere. He considered Fred like Address the Thorn, so he sent Killer to kill him. With Fred's family, he was in the FBI's witness protection program. Currently his family hides in a countryside in France. But just a few hours after he moved back, he killed a man who cheated on selling spoiled seafood. He then took the body, buried it in the garden. The next day, his daughter was on her way home when a group of young people asked to go with them because she didn't know the road. Belle also got in the car, but after driving for a while, she realized that this was not her way home. The leader came to caress her, but she was not afraid, but smiled friendly. She holds the racket behind her. Hey, pervert. Hey, rape. She hit until broke the whole racket just stopping. It's stupid to touch a mafia girl. The mother on the other side is not inferior. She went to the grocery store and was despised by her boss. She decided to buy a bottle of gas and fire the store on fire. And the son is extremely intelligent. At school, he was bullied. So he got his revenge by bribing others and creating his own guild. After that beating, no one dared to bully him. When it was dark, FBI Inspector Robert came to find Fred to warn. He's moved house twice and still causing trouble. He must integrate into life here. Don't stab this person and then hit the other. Fred promises to try to change for the better. The next day, he realized that the water in his house has problem. The water that comes out is murky yellow like it's stuck in the sand somewhere. The wife called the plumber twice and still nothing. After that, she brought the cake across the street to bribe 2 FBI people. At that moment, Fred called the plumber again. This time, the plumber actually came but was almost an hour late. He felt dissatisfaction with unprofessional way of working. Unexpectedly, he joked that he'd rather be late than never. Fred really wanted to punch this guy but he had to hold back. After checking the water pipe, he said that the entire pipe must be replaced because it's old. But after changing, it is not certain the water is clean due to the water source. Thought the old man still demanded more money first and demanded more wages. He smiled nicely and turned behind him for a baseball bat. I can't take you anymore. You're such a dog. He kept on beating. He then put him in the car and drove to the hospital. When the wife saw it, she thought he had just killed another person. The plumber lay still like a dog after going to the hospital. The doctor feel that he had just fallen from the 6th floor. My house only has 1 floor. Maybe it's because his bones are too weak. Since there was only 1 plumber in his area, he said his wife to criticize him. Why use force to solve the problem? Now who will fix the plumbing? He replied, who blew up the grocery store? All right, you win. Okay. As an experienced man, he immediately apologized to his wife and promised to solve the water problem. The next morning, the wife held a party to welcome the neighbors. She has just criticized her husband for using violence, but today the wife threatened that neighbor leaves the stolen items or has a throat cut. Everything was fine until Fred grilled the meat. A neighbor said he used a bit too much coal. Others said the quality of his coal was too poor. Another said he should use firewood. After saying that, the whole laughed happily. You piss me off. Poor quality. Wet. Fortunately, Robert promptly went to cancel his plan. The party took place in everyone's enthusiasm. In the evening, Fred and his wife watched a movie together. They didn't think that it is so difficult for an ordinary person. The next day, he went to the mayor to talk about the water problem. The mayor unexpectedly showed no interest but also despised foreigners like him. Hey, the mayor, that's fortunately your imagination. He then went to the water treatment plant to ask. Here he known the turbid yellow water was caused by fertilizer contamination. He then went to the director of the fertilizer company. The unruly director said you buy bottled water to avoid contamination. This time he doesn't have the joy anymore. He pulls the director's name a long way. You like pull again or whatever. The director said just closing drainage turbine number 5 will stop the pollution. He threatened and created a fake scene look like fell from the car and left. He then go to the drain. He didn't know how to close a water turbine, so he put a bomb in there. The water was completely solved at that time. Shortly thereafter, Inspector Robert went to watch a movie about Mafia. While watching, he showed satisfaction. He remembers his peak time. Unfortunately, it was only in the memory, but he had no idea that a fierce war was about to happen. Godfather Don has found his whereabouts. His son was asked by his teacher to write a joke a few days ago. He then remembered the joke his father told him when he was a child and wrote it down. Did he know that this very story would bring trouble to his family? He takes it home after the school publishes the newspaper. The man went on a business trip to bring it on the plane and was dropped. No long after that the newspaper was brought to the paper mill. An employee was peeking at an adult magazine his boss knew, immediately hid the newspaper and went home. His roommate is the Godfather's junior. He took the newspaper and then rolled it into a bottle of wine and brought it to the prison for him. His inmate saw the newspaper in French and the Godfather read it for him. He was about to put down but suddenly saw the boy's joke. After that, he was dumbfounded. Only members of the Mafia family knew about this. He immediately guessed who wrote it, immediately informed the assassin to track down and kill Fred. The son prepared to get a train to travel. He discovered these people were extremely suspicious. He guesses the killer who came here to kill his family. He immediately phoned his mother, but she wasn't at home. He then phoned his sister who is going to work. The killer was really professional. They did come to the local fire departments and puncture tires there. Finally, the police arrested the murderer. The killer located the position of Fred based on information in computer. They met in order to find ways to address the thorn in Godfather's side. Fred just came home, having a sound like a barking dog. He looked out the window. The bazooka-wielding assassin has an 8x viewfinder fired his house. The woman outside saw it and shouted out loud. She went out to find 2 FBI agents so she could get out of the death scythe. 2 agents quickly took up guns to rush out, but they already knew. We were waiting outside to fire and kill both of them. The killer went inside the house and found the wife. She quickly realized this was Don's godfather. He greeted and then started off his leather belt. This is how you punish the Mafia. Men kill, women humiliate. The wife was heartbroken, but she saw a very familiar person. Fred's not dead yet. As a Mafia boss, how easy it is to leave. He quietly waited for the opportunity to attack. The daughter just returned in time with a stick knocked out the killer. She picked herself a gun in the car. Beside the younger brother also chose 2 submachine guns. The killer was looking for the father's body and arguing about killing the dog. She suddenly took up the gun and shot. Due to the dog's help, most of the killers were eliminated. The brother with 2 guns also rushed to help. When he shot the second guy with a shotgun, he was injured. The sister carrying her brother, other killers appeared. They tried to kill her, but the gun ran out of bullets. The opportunity to measure, she ran away. Luckily he ran across the intersection. Inspector Robert drove his car to death. On the other side, Fred approached the killer, grabbed his belt and strangled him. For a long time, he was able to control the opponent. At this time, the mother slowly picks up the knife to kill him. The dangerous period is finally over. Even though they had killed all the killers, they didn't feel happier. The 2 children hugged together and cried. They must immediately move house that night. All are tired but no way. They are disappointed with full of worries and don't know about in the future. Once your hand gets dirty, there's no way you can clean up. Even you do good things, it is still hidden deep in your soul. And Fred's family is a witness to this. You surely have to receive retribution for your crimes. What you need to do is to face a full measure of guilt. That's the end. Goodbye and see you again.